everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Show Me How It's Done. My name is Lauren Urbonis and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. So the purpose of these weekly little videos are to show you a project or some product that I've been playing with and to walk you through step by step how I've made the project. So this week I figured, hey, it's almost Father's Day, so let's make a masculine card, but in a little fun way. So this is called a Step Up front panel card. And I thought this little space, if you went and bought like a package of those Swedish fish or something, or maybe goldfish crackers, you could kind of put it in this bottom little section in a little Ziploc baggie. The snack size Ziplocs, if you pack them full, they'll fit perfectly in there. And or you could pick like a couple Twix bars. You need 2 of them. And if you put those through, then they look perfect and are a nice little snack. So today I want to show you how to make this card. Here's the back as well. And so if you would like to follow along, I have put all of the measurements in the supply list and the supply list in the description on this video, just in case you're watching the replay, then you can kind of have all your pieces cut. Or you're welcome to just kind of try and follow along as we go. Hit that pause button if I have something prepped that you don't, and then kind of join me when you're ready to go. So before we begin, I would like to just highlight the bundle / suite that we're using today. So in our 2023 to 2024 annual catalog, we found this really fun Gone Fishing bundle. So if you don't need a sentiment for Father's Day, maybe you do still need one for your dad, there's a great retirement sentiment here, or this is also a fun one. You just flip your tag upwards and you know, it's kind of a nice masculine card. But of course you could also grab a birthday sentiment from any of your other stashed sets and make this into a birthday card too. There is a coordinating die set that I am really excited to start playing with. I haven't had a chance yet, but this front piece, it looks like a tackle box, and you're supposed to cut out all of the little fishing lures and baubles and feathers and stuff and actually fill the tackle box with them to make a fun little project. So hopefully I'll have one of those for you guys maybe later in the summer. My sister got married just a week ago, or just over a week ago, and her husband now is a very avid fisherman, so I'm guessing I'm going to have to make some sort of fisherman birthday card for the future for my new brother-in-law. So we'll get to him later, and I also will be using the coordinating twisted rope embossing folder. And there's some really fun paper that complements the suite as well. It's called the Gone Fishing Designer Series paper. Just so you guys know, it is part of the 15% off Designer Series paper this month. So that's June 2023. And most of the new Designer Series paper, just the regular stuff, is on sale for 15% off this month. So if you like this or if you like something else, I did put my website down at the bottom so that you can shop. And if you're missing one of the supplies that I'm using, I've also put the link in the description for you too. So it's easy to find and you can grab it right away. But let's get going. I'm going to move these 2 things out of my way and move that maybe over. Okay, so we're going to need to make 2 parts for our card. Pardon me, I need to wake up. I'm going to start with my card base. So that's this part here that's going to make this initial box. When I talk about the front panel in my description, it is this layer here that's going in the front. So we'll do that one second. Let's deal with this first piece right here. We're going to need a 4 1/4 by 11 inch piece of cardstock, and I've chosen Mossy Meadow for mine. My score marks are going to be at 5 1/2, 6 3/4, 8 3/4, and 10. And then I had this one folded to fit in an envelope, so fold that first one inward. And then we're going to keep folding in because we want to make a little box out of this. Okay, so with your bone folder, give yourself nice crisp lines, folding inward like so. Now before I've added any adhesion, let me just show you how that will work. It will create this fun little kind of box shape for you. It almost looks like a chair. I feel like you can make like a chair card out of this. So there's our initial box. So the easiest thing that we're going to do is let's just put some adhesive here. So if you kind of have it bent, oh, I'm sticking to things. If you have this bent down on your table, you should have kind of your main card base in the back, and then the 3 panels. I want you to be able to see 3 panels here. We're hiding one of them in the back, okay? But show me 1 panel up at the top, and that's what we're going to put our adhesive on. So you can use double-sided tape, you can use seal, whatever you're comfortable with. We're going to go ahead and put enough on that panel so that it's nice and secure, okay? So I've only put adhesive on here so that basically when I attach this to the card, it is going to create that box, okay? So the reason I had you just do the 3 is because here's my little cheat. Take your adhesive backings off the tape. Confirm that you have 1, 2, 3 panels showing, and tuck this one underneath. So use your bone folder to give a nice crisp line. And the way that we just tucked it there is going to mean this box, when I pop it up, is perfectly square. I didn't have to sit here trying to line that box up where it should be. That box is perfectly square if you simply tuck that little piece right under, okay? Now to decorate, we need some designer series paper. So it really does not matter at all what patterns you're using. You can see I chose a few patterns for this, but let's try the fish because they're cute. And oh, I did like the water. So here's 2 other sheets. So what I need to start with is a designer series paper. This is going to be designer series pattern 1 on your description. This one here, you can see it'll fit right in this top little section. So it's going to be 4 inches across the top. So whatever pattern your paper has, make sure it's 4 inches across the top. And then to go down here, we're going to end up needing that to be 3 1/4. Okay. Might as well, I guess, keep cutting. So, and then I've mentioned you need designer series paper pattern 2. So we're cutting 2 strips out of that pattern 2. Of course, you can use fronts and backs. So the larger of the 2 is this piece here. It's going to go in the front section. This also is 4 inches across. So just make sure whatever pattern you've chosen is going in the correct direction. So 4 inches across. And then we've got 1 3/4 inch down. This is all going to fall because I'm going to tip this up. And let's imagine this last little piece. It's going right on the top here. It is going to be 4 inches across, just like the other ones, but 1 inch wide. So now that you've seen where all of these go, let's turn all 3 of them over and add some tape or seal or glue to the back, whatever works for you. We want to get these all on together. I'm not popping them up because you have to still put this piece on over top, and you don't really want to have odd angles for that or mess it up. So no dimensionals on this layer. Don't worry, we'll get some later. Okay, make sure your fish are facing the right way, and you should have a tiny little Mossy Meadow border all the way around. Basically, the color scheme that I chose was the colors that Stampin' Up! Used in their paper, so it does not matter at all whether you decide you want something else. If you want to use the wild wheat for your base, you can. If you want to use Night of Navy or the copper clay, Any of those are great options. Here we go. Okay. Front little panel here. And last but not least, this little guy as well. Now, I like to have space to write on. So if you're somebody who's like, no, I don't really want to write a message, then you're not going to worry about this next piece that I'm cutting. But if you're someone who's like, oh yeah, no, I actually would like to say to and from and write a little birthday or Father's Day blurb, then we're going to cut something for the back of our card project because you do want something to write on. The nice thing is this card squishes flat, so you can put it in an envelope, and it squishes flat so you can write on it. So don't worry about writing your message ahead of time if you don't want to. Let's turn that over, and I need a piece of very vanilla cardstock for this space. It will be 4 inches by 5 1/4, and I thought it was really cute to stamp a few fish on it. So I'm grabbing my Night of Navy ink pad and the nice solid looking fish here. I'm just gonna give him a couple little friends. I didn't do it on this one, but the stamp set does come with another fish stamp that's intended for you to give color to the inside of your fish. So let's do that. Let's just maybe make his inside a mossy meadow. So this fish doesn't have the tail or the fins, and it'll go right over top of your outline and give you, once it refocuses maybe, that's too tall, there we go, and give you a fun little inside look. You can also color these extra pieces a different color if you want to with some markers. So let's make 2 little green fish. There, that's kind of fun. Now this page I'm going to attach with some double-sided tape to the back of my card, and I will come back later and write a little note on there. 1 and 2. Okay, so there is the front of my card. Pretty simple. Now we're going to do something very similar to make this front panel. So we're going to get this guy out of our way for the moment, just because I need the desk space. And we're going to kind of repeat that process just with a tinier little piece of paper. So this is also Mossy Meadow. You're going to want to match whatever you've used for your other base to this layer. And it is going to be, let me make sure I get this right, 5 5/8 of an inch by 2 3/4. My 2 little score marks are at 3/8 of an inch and 1 5/8 of an inch. Okay, so I'm going to give that to you once more because there's a lot of different eighths in there. Again, it is written in the description if you need it. Okay, so we'll just confirm this here. So across 5 5/8. This height is going to be 2 3/4. Then we're scoring at 3/8 of an inch and 1 5/8 of an inch. Now this panel is going to be this front guy here. So I'm going to fold this one backwards and fold this one backwards again. And like that, so that it will go onto my card project, like so. Now I'm going to decorate this one before I add it to the project, just because it's going to be a little easier to work with. So if you lay it on your desk with that skinny little section up towards the top, we'll be good. So you need to cut a designer series paper scrap for this little middle section. Oh, pardon me. This is going to be 1 inch by 2 5/8. And it should fit right in there, kind of with the slightest of borders. And then I chose the wild wheat, but if you chose the pattern, there's one of the designer series papers is quite prevalent with the wild wheat. You might want to substitute in this very vanilla sheet instead. Okay, so you can use either option, or you can use a different option too. But whatever you choose, you'll need a piece of cardstock. It's going to measure 2 5/8 by 3 3/4. 2 5/8 by 3 3/4, and I embossed it with that twisted rope embossing folder. Then you can attach both of those pieces to your card. I'm going to do this whole perimeter because I want it quite snug on there. Oh. Perfect. There isn't really a direction for the paper to go. If you had picked a designer series paper in place of this cardstock, then you just want to make sure it's facing the right way. All right, one, and what's the other side? Oh, this is the one that I was commenting on. See, it's very yellow, and so maybe you don't want like yellow on a card. But the gray side is fine. That's our new pebbled path color, kind of a mix between a gray and a black. Right here. Hello, by the way, to anyone who's watching live, and if you're watching the replay, then thank you for joining me too. It's kind of nice with our age of technology. You can watch this anytime at all. All right, all your papers are attached, so we can start attaching our adhesives. Okay, so we have this one little rectangle space left over. I'm going to put tape on that, but I'm not going to tape the backing off yet. So if you're using seal, just be very cautious, because I don't want you to end up putting sticking it to the table or anything. So maybe just wait to put that adhesive on for the moment. So I'm going to turn this all the way over and put adhesive on the bottom of my large section. Okay, make sure this is your large section. We're putting adhesive on the bottom, and it does stick on this section, so you have room to put actually maybe like 2 strips of adhesive, just to make sure that it sticks where you want it to. This is the one you can go ahead and prepare to attach. And what I like to do is I'm going to squish this down because I want to work on a flat surface. And I'm putting my paper lined up. So I've got probably about a 1/2 inch from the bottom, and you can see I've got about 3/4 of an inch buffer on either side. It does not have to be perfect. You just want it relatively straight and centered on the card. And I'm sticking that bottom part down now. Okay. So the reason I do that first is just like it was easy for us to tuck this first little panel underneath and make sure everything was square, I can now do that with this piece as well, because this bottom part is stuck. All I need to do is take the adhesive off, tuck that in behind, and it's going to be perfectly straight on my card. Okay, so let's go ahead and take that tape off. If you are using seal, then go ahead and attach a little bit and just tuck that little piece in place, so that when this pops up, you've got that double fold ready to go. And now it's time to decorate. We're gonna work on making sure those folds are nice and crisp later, so don't worry about that at the moment. But let's worry a little bit about what you want to cut out so that you can kind of finish decorating Ooh, your project. Okay, so anybody who knows me knows that I love the stylish shapes dies. Those are our set that has a series of circles, a series of squares, and a series of banners, all in different sizes, all in a new set. So when I saw this set in the catalog, these are the nested essential dies, they were right up my alley. So what I chose for my little tag is just the second largest of these fun little kind of curved rectangles, and I just cut that out with very vanilla. So I've got one of those right here, and as I mentioned, I need this for Father's Day cards. So I'm going to use my Night of Navy ink, and I'm going to stamp the Happy Father's Day from our Gone Fishing set. So I'm putting this over kind of towards the right-hand side because I want to be able to put my little fishing hook and feather lure just on the left. But if you're using a different sentiment, you might take up the whole space, or you might want it centered. It's totally up to you. But I'm going to go kind of to the right here. Happy Father's Day, like so. And then I'm going to pop this little guy up on dimensionals to attach to my project. Make sure they at least have dimensionals in the corners, but you might want to go ahead and attach a couple extra, because when you're attaching to something that's embossed this well, the dimensionals sometimes have to work hard to stick. So the more you have, the more chance your project will stay together, I guess. There we go. And this guy I didn't put all the way at the bottom because I want a little room for my little bauble there. So I'm going to move it up probably about 3/4 of an inch for my lure to have room. Like so. Now it's time for you to make these little guys. I have them pre-prepped and pre-cut with the dies from the Gone Fishing, but I wanted to show you guys how to stamp them because they are a two-step little option again too for you. So we're starting with Night of Navy, and you'll start with the large kind of outline of that first lure. The stamp's just very straightforward. These are just scraps of paper if you're wondering. And then I've got my hook and feather again on another. So this is pretty like so. You could color them with markers if you wanted, especially the feather one. It might look kind of nice if you did different markers. But if you want to make your life easy, there is a second stamp in the set that will give you the fun little line and bottom feature for your bauble here. Call it a bauble. Levi is not going to be impressed with me. Be like, Lauren, I have to have a fishing date so I can teach you what these are all called. That's my new brother-in-law. Okay, and then the feathers, there's also an inside piece for that. So I'm using Mossy Meadow. I should have mentioned this one here is real red for my ink. And just the feathers go inside. It's very subtle, but hopefully you kind of saw the difference in how it looked before and how they look now. And then yes, we have beautiful dies that you can use to just cut those two out and have them ready for your project. Or if you don't have the dies, you can fussy cut too, if you really would like to. But I have them ready to go. So for my large little guy here, I am going to add a dimensional just kind of below the right-hand side of this tag because I want those two layers to be even in height. And then I also wanted this to be able to stick to the corner a bit. So I'm going to either put a dot of glue, little glue dot, or I just happen to have my tape right here beside me. So I'm going to put just a little bit of double-sided tape right here so that I'm not only attaching the circle to my card base, I'm attaching it to the tag too. And it doesn't have to stay on the yellow. It can kind of go at a little angle be partially over on your designer series paper down here too. Okay, so there's one. This little guy with the hook, we're going to pop up in dimensionals for sure. So put 2 dimensionals kind of right in that feather area. And I just kind of toss this to an angle like so. Adorable. But I thought, hey, let's add something else. So our catalog is full of all sorts of embellishments that I could have used for this. We have the brass metallic dots, we have matted dots, and that's just kind of what I keep on hand all the time, is just this little container full of all sorts of dots. So these ones are kind of too bright. They're some of our pearls, but these ones were our matte black and color dots. So I figured let's pull a few of those out. I probably could have used the vanilla ones from the set too. That would look quite nice. Even gray blends in. So whatever ones you choose. Let's try something different. Let's try the vanilla. See which one we like better. I don't know how much I'll like the vanilla because it'll probably blend the tag up here, but still, it's always good to try new things. Use the black ones over here. There, not too bad. It kind of lightens up the card actually, to be honest. And so if I wanted to lighten up the card, maybe I'd use gray. It probably would have been a good medium. But that's fine. I like to play with these things. I'm not all fully prepped. Sometimes we just are a little different. So there you go. Easy peasy. Maybe. I say easy peasy. Hopefully this video made it easy peasy, and I hope that you guys enjoyed the project and that you can make this kind of fold with a bunch of projects and pieces that you have on hand too. So thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed the video, consider just liking it or subscribing to my channel. I post a new video every Tuesday at noon, so I'd love to see you back here for other videos in the future, or I have a whole library of them that you can watch from the past too. Thanks for joining me. Bye.